Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. And we coming to you, as always, from ESPN 975-925. And we're going to bring it to you today, guys. We here for a short time, but for a good time here today. How you doing, Bradley? How you feel?
I'm doing good, Book. I'm doing good. You know, we're just a few days away from SummerSlam, the biggest party of the summer. AEW had its 200th episode of Dynamite last night.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to get into, but I feel like I'm
Let's
just
get right.
now.
Let's look here. Let's get
Go
right
for
now.
it.
Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. RVD made his long-awaited return to the ring, but long-awaited entry into AEW. Talk to me. What'd you think about it?
I was surprised. You know, you normally when somebody's about to come over and debut, you hear a little bit about it. There's smoke on these social media websites. You hear a lot about it on X and on Instagram and things of that nature. I heard none of this about RVD, so I was pleasantly surprised to see him, and he's going to go against Jungle Boy. You know what? I mean, it's a fun pickup for AEW. I did not expect it. What about you? What was your initial reaction?
No, man, RVD, that's my homie, man. That's my homie. We go way back. Former tag team champions, of course.
Successfully defended those titles at WrestleMania, by the way.
Yeah, RVD, one of the guys that I ran down the road with, one of the very few guys that I actually travel with on the road. Road Dog, that's my homie. So I'm glad to see him back out there, man. One thing about this business, man, you always have that itch that you looking to scratch. And RVD right now got a shot, AEW, him and Jungle Boy next week. Live. We're going to get a chance to see it, see what's left in the tank, because that's one thing you're always looking to see with the older guys. You're looking to see if they got that chant, you still got it. That's what it's all about. So I'm sure the world is going to be highly anticipating checking out, and as well as to set it up a week in advance. That's good. That's pretty good booking. You know what I mean? Because the RVD fans, the old ECW alumni would definitely be tuning in for something like that. So, hey, man, it's going to be good.
It's going to be great. And, you know, for Rob, his last run in WWE, I think was like 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So it's actually been almost a decade since we've seen him on national television with one of the major promotions. He's done stuff, obviously, a bunch in between those times. Even had a documentary come out with WWE and a lot of great stuff that he's been up to. This is the first time he's going to be back on that television screen live. Do you think that adds a layer of pressure? Because Rob's always been heralded for his in-ring performance. Everyone meant the Rolling Thunder, the 5-star frog splash. It's not just a normal one. It's a 5-star frog splash. Do you think that adds a layer of pressure, being that he's been off of a national television promotion for so long?
Yeah, because everybody's going to be judging you. Everybody's going to be trying to critique you. Everybody's going to be looking to see if you lost a step. That's just the way the world is today. They're not looking. A lot of people. I mean, me personally, like I said, I'm just glad to see him back, and it seemed like that would be the nostalgia of this whole thing more than anything. But you got people out there that's going to try to pick and poke and prod and try to pull things apart. But just watching RVD throw that spin kick, it said, man, he still got something left in the tank. For me to throw that spin kick, something might just pop in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to seeing what my road dog, my compadre, my brother still have left in the tank.
Well, it wasn't the only big pickup for AEW that was announced yesterday. They did announce that they have successfully re-signed all the members of the quote-unquote elite to multi-year deals. That includes Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Hangman Adam Page. There was a lot of rumors just a couple months ago, Book, that Kenny Omega might be jumping. It's not a done deal with the Young Bucks. I had never heard really one way or another on Adam Page, but this is great news for AEW to retain that core four, the stars that they kind of built this company around from the get-go. This is only good news for them.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either.
As Nate Diaz would say, I'm not, I'm not surprised. No, because those guys, man, they were always, about being out there doing their own thing anyway. Being in Japan doing their own thing, and then having a chance to come here to United States and be able to do their own thing with AEW and still be able to get paid. I tell people all the time, at the end of the day, that's truly really what it's all about, man. If you can get paid doing something you love to do, especially here in the United States, because trust me, if those guys wasn't doing that here in the US, they'd be in Japan doing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
They pick up a check somewhere.
They'd be picking up a check, more than anything. And I think, just like I said once before, also, you'd rather pick up a check here in the United States opposed to flying 15 hours to Japan to do it.
A little bit better commute.
As well as the food, the accommodations, the comfortability, everything goes along with, being at home and give the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and all those guys, a choice. I don't know about Kenny Omega. He might want to go back to Japan, but I think then again, maybe not, because it's plush, man. It's plush here. And you get the chance to, really enjoy it, especially working with a company like AEW, working with companies in Japan compared to working a company like AEW. Man, that's night and day. Trust me, getting on those buses, traveling those roads in Japan, making those shows. I mean, I don't know what it's like now, but back in the day, in the cold, it was no heat. You know what I mean? It was, the buildings was like ice. It was rough, dog. It was rough. So just like being in a Cadillac, compared to a Volkswagen. No, I wouldn't say that. No, let me take that back, because somebody will try to make something out of that. But this is told from being comfortable. Yeah, it is. It's like because just say for instance the rooms in Japan. Literally, I could put my arms out like this, and I will be touching the walls. The bed was about big as a kid's bed. So trust me, it's a lot different. So yeah, look here. I'm not surprised.
I think it's only good for them. And again, it suits the Elite's kind of style. The way that they work is more of that Japanese style in some ways, or in new age ways, that is more conducive to being an AEW than any other promotion. So big shout out to them. I do want to also know real quick, what do you think about this beef going on between Triple H and Tony Khan? That's what I want to hear your opinion on. Have you seen all this?
Wait a minute. What are you talking about? What beef?
You haven't seen the beef?
I've been under a rock, bro. I mean, between Triple H and Tony Khan.
Triple H and Tony Khan, yeah.
No, what's going on? Talk to me.
So I know we have a couple minutes left, so I'll try to get through it quickly. The Cody Rhodes documentary, the American Nightmare documentary, came out on Peacock on Monday. And in that documentary, they were talking about Cody's transition from AEW back to WWE. And Triple H said in a little cutscene there in a talking head interview, look, this is where Cody belongs. Cody Rhodes didn't grow up wanting to be in a secondary promotion. And Tony Khan, obviously watched the doc and was not a fan of the characterization of a secondary promotion. And he said in response to Triple H, we certainly won't be the secondary promotion at All In. We're number one in the UK on TV with a record gate. We're not secondary in a lot of markets. For the first time in a long time, WWE has been secondary. And that's the quote. They're going at it. They're beefing. Shots are being fired in the media.
I don't know. I don't even know really how to approach it or how to take it. You know what I mean? It's a comment.
Well, can I tell you what I think about it?
Well, go right ahead.
I like it from both guys. You know what?
Yeah.
You're supposed to feel that way, and sometimes it's not bad to throw a little shade on somebody, throw a little heat on them. Hey, guess what? In Triple H's mind and in the minds of a lot of wrestling fans, AEW is the number 2 promotion, and there's nothing wrong with being number 2.
You know what? Secondary could mean, I think, more than just being in second. Mm-hmm. Secondary could just be another company. Cody Rhodes grew up in the WWE, not TNA, not WCW, not AEW. That may be the way that's the way I'm approaching it.
I think that, you know what? You could be right on with that. That could be right on the money.
You know what, man? I've always got good analogies.
Never
man.
mind. It's
Hey, man,
completely
stick
wrong.
around, y'all.
You're wrong.
Y'all in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. I'm good. Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Back to the Tony Khan Triple H thing. Can you look at it that way now? Can you?
I like that. Well, I mean, look, it's playing into semantics, and I think that when Triple H says something like that, it's like an ink blot test, a Rorschach test. You're going to see what you want to see with that comment. He could be saying, hey, this is a second company out there that Cody didn't grow up in. This isn't what he wanted to always be in. Or you could look at it as the number 2 company, both of which aren't incorrect. And there's actually nothing wrong with AEW. They're only 4 years old.
Well, no, what I'm saying is one could have played himself. You know what I mean? By even commenting to something like that. Yeah. Because there again, for me, secondary is not a bad thing. Secondary, it could be there again, New Japan, AEW, TNA, WCW, it could be anything. Cody Rhodes grew up wanting to be the WWE champion, something that his dad did not achieve. So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Now, speaking of the Cody Rhodes documentary, I did have another question for you. And without seeing the clip, maybe you don't remember, but there is a scene in the documentary when Cody makes his return in Dallas at WrestleMania 38. And after he walks back through the curtain, being the surprise, and they show him talking to a particular individual I think that you know very well. It was you. And we don't see what y'all are talking about, but there was laughs going on. I think a hug may have even been exchanged. What do you remember after Cody made his return at 38? What do you remember talking to him about?
I think our conversation, I hate talking about private conversations or anything, but I just give a little sneak peek inside. I just told him I'm glad he was back home. And the rest of it, don't need to be
right
put out there. But I just told him, man, I'm glad you're back home. And we might have talked about Shakespeare or something like that. but nah, man, I was just happy to see Cody back and to try to get a chance to fulfill that destiny, something that I know he always longed for. Cody's last angle in WWE was with me. And I always wish for bigger and better things for Cody Rhodes, just because I saw something in the kid, and I was proven right. Damn it, I was proven right that Cody Rhodes is a star, man. Cody right now is looked at upon as being one of the guys that's going to go down in WWE history as one of the greats. I really feel that way. I'm serious, and he set himself up. And he's rode his own ticket, you know what I mean? He's riding his own ship. I appreciate that, So for me, it was just one of those moments.
Yeah, it was a great documentary. I suggest that everybody listening to this goes out of their way to watch it on Peacock, called American Nightmare. And it really shows I didn't know that he was such an accomplished amateur wrestler. I had no idea of that he was state champion and only lost 2 matches in his senior year or something like that with 100 and something wins. And the real cool thing, though, is he was always billed as Cody Runnels, because that's his name, on all of his matches in amateur wrestling, except for his last one, where he was going for it all. And this was going to be his last match in high school. They billed him as Cody Rhodes. And it was the first time that he was billed as that, with Dusty sitting in the back watching his son, and a lot of stuff about Dusty in there to no one's surprise at his influence. But the documentary is really great. And now Cody's got to go get the job done this Saturday in Detroit against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, man, I've been loving everything that these guys been doing. The build-up has been like real. The fights have been, like the highlights packages have been like really, really awesome. It looked like two guys really going out there tooth and nail, blood and guts like type feel. So I'm loving it, man. I'm loving the build of Cody Rhodes and Cody on that journey and that ride to that destiny. I'm loving all of that. So for me, it's gonna be good. Looking forward to it. I'll be there. I'll be heading out to Detroit on Friday. Got to get there a little bit early because SummerSlam, man, it's almost like WrestleMania. It's gonna be huge. I got to check into the green room and all that stuff. We got buses, taking us in. No park and all that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be big, man. It's gonna be big. I'm so looking forward to it.
Yeah, SummerSlam right around the corner. I know we're going to break down the card here in a bit, but we do have a super chat that came in from Richard JR that said next week at WWE NXT, Roxanne Perez should help Dragon Lee beat Dominic Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship.
I don't know what Roxanne Perez and Dragon Lee come together at. That's a match made to happen. Yeah. But no, man, Dragon Lee, Dominic, I'm looking forward to that match because Dragon Lee's a star, man. This kid is he's like I used to say back in the day, this kid's got the rocket on it. You know what I mean? He's sent him straight to the moon. He's got a hell of a future. He's got a hell of a body. He's got a hell of a look. But next Tuesday, he's gonna have to slip on a banana peel, man. Because he's going to be taking Dominic's finish. It's going to be that simple because that Dominic Mysterio is just that good. This kid is on another level, and he's teaching what it really takes to be a star and what a star looks like at 24 years old. I'm serious.
He's great. Dragon Lee is sensational overall. I mean, when I saw him, like we talked about on the last episode, in that 8-person tag that kicked off things in Austin for the Great American Bash, I was like, man, this guy is so excellent. And I always got to give props to Lucha guys because I don't know how they do it with the mask on. And they got their peripheral vision blocked partially. It's got to be hot in there. It's got to be sweaty, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it adds extra. And the thing about, and Ray's been one of the guys who's been able to transcend that. But one of the knocks on luchadors always traditionally in wrestling has been, at least in American style of wrestling, has been you can't see their faces. So you can't see their facial expressions, the pain, the anguish, the agony.
Yeah.
It just makes it, I feel like, your job harder. So that's why I am impressed by all the lucha guys, especially Dragon Lee, who can give me what I need from a wrestling match, even with the inhibitors at times.
Yeah. It was funny on NXT this week where the guy comes up to Dominic and he starts talking to him, and then Dominic goes, "Didn't I just talk to you about this?" That's the other mask. I'm Axiom. But it was so funny coming from Dominic that he couldn't tell them apart. You know what I mean? I was like, that's good. Didn't I just talk to you about this? Oh man, but no, man.
You know what's great about Dom? And I went to Raw in Houston Monday night and got to see the show. Shout out to WWE. And Dom, you can just tell when somebody's riding the wave and they understand what their assignment is, right? And he's feeling it. Just the Judgment Day went out there to do a promo with the 4 of them, and everybody in the audience was waiting for the time that they would hand Dominic the microphone, right? Yeah. So it starts off with Damian Priest, then it goes to Finn Balor, and then Rhea Ripley talks, and then as soon as he holds the microphone in his hand, H-Town booed this man out of the building, and he couldn't even get his promo out. And so eventually he just goes, "Here," and hands the microphone to Rhea, and she says his line for him in the promo. It was so good. He just understands who he is.
Yeah, I'm loving it, man. No, seriously. Been good stuff. I know we probably got some super chatters in the room, in the waiting room, getting ready to get in and get their champagne wishes, caviar drinks. Gonna be talking about Bash of the Beach 2000 here on the show today. I got a chance to look at some of the. Actually, I looked at the whole thing, and we definitely got to talk about Bash of the Beach 2000, the infamous night that I won the World Heavyweight Championship. Documentary, Dark Side of the Ring, Bash at the Beach. And the thing is, I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't give any quotes or anything. I think they reached out to me as far as did I want to be a part of it, and I think I declined it. Just like I've declined all of the times that they've called me for that, just because I just don't want to be a part of anything negative. I don't want to be a part of somebody's downfall or anything like that, somebody's bad times or anything like that. I think that's what these shows pretty much are built around. It's always, I don't think in the Dark Side of the Ring thing, there's never any bright lighted.
Well, that hints the dark part of the name.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So for me, even on my, my greatest triumph, winning the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, I declined to be a part of, that episode, just because, like I say, just totally, bad taste leaves the bad taste in the mouth. But the thing is, I just want to talk about it as far as truth, compared to perhaps untruth, just because I was there, and I can only give my perspective on how I felt as far as the situation and everything that was going on. I just want to talk about a couple of little key things that was said on Dark Side of the Ring as well, as far as that night and how it pretty much came to fruition. So stick around, guys. If you want to hear it, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, along with my man Brad Gilmore. And we talking about everything sports and entertainment here today. Like I said, I know we got a lot of super chatters probably waiting in the wing, but we want to talk about this just to get the elephant out of the room immediately. Bash at the Beach 2000, Dark Side of the Ring, Bash at the Beach 2000 was aired just a few days ago, and I got a chance to check it out. And I just wanted to give my take on a couple of things. There again, big props to Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett say that, a lot of the stuff that he didn't know about, some of the stuff he did know about, Russo told him just to go out there and lay down. Other than that, he didn't know a whole lot about it. You remember Jeff and I actually talked about that night, and Jeff said, man, I knew just as little as you did.
Yeah.
And that's true. I didn't know a whole lot about it going into it. I'm just thinking about like body language and stuff like that. Jeff was told to go in there and lay down for Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan pulled his creative control card. Now, Vince Russo said that they had talked about this whole thing before the show even went off. It was it was written this way, as far as him going out cutting a promo on Hulk Hogan, throwing the belt at Hulk winning and leaving and whatnot. All of that was in the script. Hogan knew it. Bischoff knew it. Everybody in the upper echelon, they knew it. Now, Eric Bischoff said none of that is true. Hulk said none of it's true, to the point Hulk Hogan actually filed a lawsuit against Vince Russo, and it got thrown out just because of, it was based around characters. Hulk Hogan, Vince Russo, all characters under the wrestling banner, whatnot. A lot of that seems very, very, sketchy as far as I'm concerned. One thing that really intrigued me was this is something that I wouldn't imagine have happened. Eric Bischoff said that after Hulk Hogan won the belt from Jeff Jarrett and they left the building because everybody, was supposed to know. And then again, Eric Bischoff said they didn't know. Okay, this is the point that gets me. Eric Bischoff said after Hulk Hogan did the deal with Jeff Jarrett, him and Hogan left the building. They went to the bar and they was toasting some drinks. And then next thing you know, they realized that Vince Russo is cutting his promo. And now that, Vince Russo cut this major promo, Jeff Jarrett and I are now going to wrestle for the championship. Now, I've never seen the boss leave the building before the lights go off. That's just something that just really, really makes me wonder, is that true or not, that Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan left the building with Vince Russo still there with a hot mic? That part right there makes no sense. Now, Hulk Hogan said he knew nothing about it. Like I say, it's just one of those things to where when I look at these stories, just like when I looked at the Dark Side of the Ring and they had the plane ride from hell and they had Vince McMahon on the plane, I said, that's not true. I was on that flight. He wasn't on. All of this stuff just seems to be embellished to the point to where we're just trying to, create something, create a story. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, I watched Hulk Hogan when that thing happened in the middle of the ring. All right. The look on his face, there's no way Hulk Hogan knew what was going on. There's no way. He's not that good of an actor. There's no way. No.
We've seen his movies.
and I go, wow, and then to hear Vince Russo tell that story that everybody knew. I'm going to tell you, I didn't know anything. So, and the thing is, to this day, that secret has been kept as far as everybody knew about it. It's no way a story like that could be kept this many years in professional wrestling. It's no freaking way. So from my perspective, as far as, did Vince Russo go into business for himself that night? Perhaps yes. Me personally, I'm glad he went into business for himself. I'm not mad at him or anything for going into business for himself, because I won the world title that night. If it wasn't for Vince Russo going into business for himself that night, I wouldn't have won the world championship. I find out this many years later that Hulk Hogan was supposed to win the championship and then come back at Halloween Havoc, and they was going to do whatever they did with it. Eric Bischoff was on board with that 100%. Now, this is my thing also. I've given Eric Bischoff a lot of props over the years. But I found out now, if Vince Russo wouldn't have did what he did, I wouldn't have won the world championship. And perhaps I wouldn't have never won it, ever. That's how close and how big this thing really is for me. And the thing is, Eric Bischoff, he was, one of those guys that was hanging out and partying, had become friends with guys like Hulk Hogan, the NWO, and all those guys. So I can see that happening, 100%. But if it wasn't for, I still give Vince Russo all the credit in the world for being the guy to pull the trigger, because I said it here on the show. I said there could be 12 guys in the room and they could get polled who should win the championship, and it could be unanimous, Booker T. And without Vince Russo in the room, they would have gave it to somebody else. Same exact scenario. They did a poll. My name came up, and Eric Bischoff still would have gave the title to Hulk Hogan. That's the sad part about it. That's really the sad part about that whole thing. A lot of cowards, man. A lot of cowards in the room back then.
Yeah, so I want to do my due diligence and watch the Bash at the Beach episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I'm like you. I kind of don't watch any of them because I don't like the negativity behind pro wrestling. I think that we're kind of moving in a post-negative pro wrestling. We're in a very positive space. But I do have a couple follow-ups. So when were you told immediately after the Jeff and Hogan match? Were you told in the back right after that, hey, you're going to get those world title? When were you told? When were you quote unquote smartened up about
Well,
the main event?
I had wrestled Canyon earlier that night.
Right.
But I was told that I was going to be winning the world title that night earlier in the night. Okay.
Before you wrestled Canyon?
After I wrestled Canyon.
After. Okay.
Okay.
Who told you?
I can't remember who it was, but they told me, stick around, just stay ready. You winning the world title. And then I realized everything was going on with Hogan, pulling the, card that he was winning the heavyweight championship that night. I remember saying, look, man, let him win it, bro. I said, I don't mind. I just go home. That's exactly the way I felt because it just felt like something, for me, very trivial. I swear to God, the world championship didn't mean that much to me because I had never won it. You know what I mean? Did I want to win it? Everyone wants to, ascend to that point. But it wasn't something that was really consuming me or anything. But they say, no, stick around, man. You're wrestling again tonight and you're winning the world championship. So that part was in play. I think all the backstage turmoil between Hogan and Eric Bischoff and Vince Russo, I think that's real. I think that's 100% real.
Yeah, they definitely did not get along.
I think Hulk Hogan really wanted to win the World Heavyweight Championship that night. I don't know if it was an angle or not. I don't know if it's something that Vince Russo had already up his sleeve because just think about this here for a second. Hogan took the title and left. Okay? But then we wrestled again for another world title. And they had another world title already ready on hand.
Strange.
Think about it. It's a lot of, nefariousness, stuff going on here. So somebody perhaps knew about it. Perhaps somebody didn't.
Let me ask you, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. Do you believe one person over the other, or do you think that there's confusion and all kinds of shenanigans overall? Because it seems as though part of Bischoff's story you don't find holds water, and part of Russo's story you don't find holds water. Am I characterizing that correctly?
Yeah, for the guys to know that all of this was so-called a work, I think I don't think it would have played out as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have looked as good. It wouldn't have looked as real if everybody knew that this was a work.
Come on, man. Oldest phrase in the business: telephone, telegram, tell a wrestler. Like that's getting out that it's a work, right? That's getting out in the night. Someone knows, and someone's got to tell somebody.
The Montreal screw job. You believe it's a work?
The Montreal screw job?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You think Bret Hart would be holding on to that day this long if it was a work?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Frick, man, come on, man. Let's be real here. So, nah, man. I don't think that was a work. I think it was a shoot. I think they all had built themselves up into a shoot. Hogan thought he was the guy that should have won because I actually heard Hulk Hogan do an interview after that. They actually played it on Dark Side of the Ring. They said he said they can give that what I can't remember what the term he used, but he said they can give that belt to Booker T, but I'm still the real world champion. That's what he said. That's what he said.
Well, that's what he thought.
Well, and that's what he thought. That's the way he felt. He felt like he was still a guy that just didn't want to let it go at that stage of the game. He still felt like he was the world champion. And God bless him. God bless him.
Yeah, but this whole situation is why you do not allow in any way, shape, form, or fashion any one talent to have creative control over their entire character.
It's conflict of interest.
It is just a terrible idea from the get-go. I understand why Bischoff gave it to him because he's
I
trying
know.
to lure him in. I
Yeah.
know because he's trying to lure him in. Hey, man, you can do whatever you want. We'll pay you this. You'll work less dates. You'll be in the main event. And if you're not in the main event, damn it, you can say you're in the main event. I get why you give it to him because you're trying to beat WWE. You want Hulk Hogan as your marquee star. However, this is what happens. Now, to the other point of it, Booker, you were going to win the world title, whether it was going to be that night or another night. Because it was undeniable at that point.
We can talk about that. We got to take a quick break. We can talk about that on the back end. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Fame. I got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. We're just talking wrestling. We're talking Bash at the Beach 2000 right now. And I know you had a follow-up. You had a follow-up, right?
Well, what I was saying is I feel as though whether it was Bash at the Beach 2000 that night or another night, Booker T being the world champion would have occurred. At least that's how I feel. I don't know how you feel, but that's how I
don't
feel.
know. Like I said, I don't know.
It would have happened regardless.
Like I say, Eric Bischoff had a chance to do that. And Eric Bischoff was going to be the guy to take that away from me just because Hulk Hogan told him to.
Well, did Bishop? Well, so I haven't seen.
No. Dad had it from the story. The way Vince Russo said they had a unanimous vote. The unanimous vote that I should win the championship. Hulk Hogan pulled his card that he wanted to win that night, and Eric Bischoff was going to let him do it. Eric Bischoff was going to pull the rug right out from under me. And that's why, like I said, I got a lot of respect for Eric Bischoff for what he did for me. But hearing that and hearing it out of his own mouth, it takes a whole lot of that respect. It takes it down many levels. I can tell you that. I really can tell you that. And the thing is, I'm not hearing that. That's not hearsay. That came from his own mouth. That Hulk Hogan had creative control, and Hulk Hogan was going to walk out that night the world champion. And that goes to show me. It tells me a whole lot about the man. More than anything, it tells me a whole lot about the man. Even Dave Meltzer had good things to say about me on that show. Dave Meltzer said Booker T was a really, really good wrestler. And the second part he said was very, very true as well. He said black guys hadn't been too kind in the wrestling business up until then. That's what Meltzer said. And I give Dave Meltzer a lot of props because it probably took a whole lot out of him to say that. I'm serious. It probably did after him and our run-ins and whatnot. So I can honestly say, Dave Meltzer, I appreciate that. I really do. You know what I mean? But just sitting back and hearing some of the stuff, bro, I was like a fly on the wall because all of that stuff I knew nothing about. I was just the wrestler. I was just the performer, the entertainer, the guy that was going to go out and try to deliver. And to hear Eric Bischoff say that, now he was going with the program, and the program was for Hogan to walk away champion that night after all the work I had put in for that company up until that point. It just tells me a whole lot about the person. And the thing is, I see him and don't think that I'm not going to say the same thing in his face. I'm not going to be mad or anything, but trust me, the feeling that he's gonna that he gets from me, I think will totally be different forevermore. I really do.
Well, let me ask you this, because I actually don't know, and I don't know the way that the creative control works. like if Hogan has creative control and says, I don't care if Booker's supposed to win the world title tonight, I want to win the world title tonight. Can anybody stop him?
Well, I think that's when somebody should step up.
Like I'm just asking, like
That's
contractually speaking.
Well, Vince Russo stopped it.
Well, he still won the title.
Well, he did.
Then
he still won it. But it was tainted.
Yeah,
it wasn't right.
Oh, of course,
and it wasn't right for him to have creative control from the beginning.
Do you know?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt, but the one thing that also sticks out to me is, do you know who actually comes out of this looking? And I'm going to watch the episode, but looks great, better than anybody else aside from yourself. Jeff Jarrett, right?
Oh, Jeff.
How great does Jeff look coming out?
Jeff was a player, man. Jeff did his job. He went out there and did what he was supposed to do. Jeff was in the same position I was in. We were just workers, and we went out and did our jobs. More so than anything. It was a lot of game playing, a lot of shenanigans, backstage politics, stuff that I just wasn't privy or involved with. But it just, like I say, it's a dog-eat-dog world, this wrestling business. It's a dog-eat-dog world, and there again, it's step on toes and keep on walking.
Keep on walking, Jack.
About the little man.
Well, I'm going to watch the episode, and then I think we should have maybe even a proper follow-up, because I'm sure I'm going to have a cornucopia of additional questions for you when it comes to Bash at the Beach 2000. But you know what's also great is when people talk about Booker T's first world title win, and then they talk about the Bash at the Beach drama, it's almost like two separate nights in people's minds. Have you realized that? Like, I know maybe not for you, obviously, because you were in the thick of it. But for me, when I think of, oh, yeah, Booker won the world title at Bash at the Beach 2000, I think of that as a different night than when all the stuff with Hogan.
Well, I can tell you, when you watch it, it looked like two different nights.
Yeah.
Even on the same night, it looked like two different nights because there was a lot of drama, a lot of chaos. There was a lot of crap going on. And then Jeff and I had to go out and perform. And then when I won, the place went crazy. The building went nuts. Everybody was on their feet. Everybody was raising the roof. So, I was happy, and I think the right call was made. And I don't think I do think that night made my win even bigger. It made my night more memorable just because of the chaos and everything that was going on. And I actually happened to be the guy that ended up, walking away with the championship. But I wasn't a fly-by-night, champion either. I wasn't the guy that was just here today and gone tomorrow. I wasn't the guy that was just a placeholder. I wasn't the guy that was just getting the championship because I was the token black guy. I was the guy that got the championship because I was the best. And then I went on to become 6-time world champion. It didn't just happen one time. It happened several times because I was that damn good. And Eric Bischoff should have recognized that. And Eric Bischoff should have went with Vince Russo's call and put the title on me. It's just my opinion.
And you know what? I'm glad the result is what we got. We have a couple super chats and only a couple minutes. I do have to ask one additional thing, not about Bash at the Beach. Did you see Paul Heyman's viral comments on First Take regarding Bobby Heenan and Jimmy Hart? Did you get to see that? Because it blew up all over social.
I didn't. What was it?
So Stephen A asked him, essentially, are you the greatest manager ever? He said yes. Or actually, Paul said he was the greatest manager ever. And then Stephen A said, what about Bobby Heenan? Paul Heyman said, screw him, he's dead. And Jimmy Hart's still around, which means God doesn't answer my prayers. Obviously, all in character, but it went pretty viral. How do you feel about what Paul Heyman said?
Hey, it worked. Come on. You're supposed to put yourself over like that. This is wrestling. And if you take it anything other than that, that's on you. That's on you.
Let's get to these super chats before we have to wrap up for the day. This guy named Alex, don't forget, Book. They're still reliving those history books with podcast interviews, documentaries. You're writing new books with Reality of Wrestling and NXT. Damn
right, man. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about the future. I'm all about tomorrow. I'm not about yesterday or anything like that. I responded about this Dark Side of the Ring, Bash at the Beach 2000, just because I was, mentioned many, many times. But I hate reliving old stuff. But this one, I think I just had to touch on. But I appreciate that. NXT moving up. Reality of Wrestling got big news coming for you real soon.
Yeah, we can't wait to. We got big news for reality wrestling. We got big news for other things. We're waiting to announce a whole cavalcade of information to the people book. It's gonna be good August. It's gonna be a damn good August. Big Breezo says this was a real episode. Appreciate you guys.
No, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man. Those are our super chats for the day here, Booker. As we roll in to Detroit Rock City SummerSlam Premium Live event. Two big main events: Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and of course Tribal Combat with main event Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. I'm excited, man. Although I'm a little upset. There's no Trish and Becky on this SummerSlam card. They got pushed off the card apparently.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. It's gonna be a lot more hottie biscotti.
Oh, trust me.
Going
I saw
around
Trish on Monday. I was stratified. Trust me.
Well, you good for the year. You should be good for the rest of the year. You know what I'm saying? You got your dose of stratisfaction, so you ought to be real good. Nah, man. I just wanted to thank everybody. Like I said, we got to wrap up here in a minute. Thank everybody for making the show what it is, man. Hall of Fame is definitely on the rise, and like Brad said, we got some big news coming for you guys. Perhaps over the next week or two, maybe.
Yeah, very soon.
With reality wrestling as well as with the Hall of Fame and everything that we're doing here. So guys, stay tuned. But we appreciate our big breezos. We appreciate our Cali toenails, man. You guys definitely is what keep this show rolling. Keep it hot. Making people tune in on a weekly basis. Making sure we get our hot takes out there too, man, because we had so many hot takes out there last
Hot
week.
Take City, man.
I mean, it was Hot Take City. Every time I put up one site, we had 3 stories on one site at the same time. I was like, man, we definitely doing it. So thank you guys for making the Hall of Fame what it is. Getting your champagne wishes and caviar dreams. And Brad, as always, man, we appreciate you for all the heavy lifting. Getting you look like you've been working out a little bit too. You're getting bulked up a little bit. I appreciate it.
Hey, look at that. Look, I'm trying.
But guys, always stepping inside the Hall of Fame every week. Get your champagne wishes, caviar dreams. But right now, we love you and peace. We out.